With Zurich, where you have an option if you would like for a boat ride. Following that, we will be going to Schlock, which is a fishing village. Okay, you're actually visiting Malta on a very important day. Okay, today is the feast that we refer to as San Grigor, and in Schlock is where we have most of the traditions going on. Okay, this is practically marking our first swim for the season. Children are still on Easter holidays. Okay, well, the tradition comes back way back from the 18th century, and every Wednesday, the first Wednesday after Easter, a procession used to take place. Okay, Malta's a very religious island. As we drive by, you'll see a number of churches. Okay, we are Roman Catholics. As a tradition, we had a procession that used to leave from Mdina, the medieval city, down to Zaytun area, and then the people used to go for their first swim. Okay, so this is a tradition. We do not do the procession anymore, okay, but we do the swim. Okay, so in Schlock it will be quite busy this morning. We will then end with a walking tour in Victoriosa, okay, and that is where we will be ending our morning together. Well, our driver this morning, I just introduced myself. I'm Mariella, I am local, okay, together with our driver Robert. Okay, Robert will be with us for all the morning, so I really do recommend that we keep our seats. If you would like to leave anything on the coach, please feel free. Okay, the coach will be with us, nobody will be using the coach, so if you want to leave anything on any bag, obviously if it's something precious, just keep with you. Okay, so we are leaving the Grand Harbour area. Well, Malta as an island is a very small island. Okay, I'm not sure if you are aware, but this morning you are visiting the 10th smallest country in the world. Okay, Malta is just 27 by 14 kilometers. So a very small island, but due to our position, we're right in the middle of the Mediterranean. Okay, we're just 90 kilometers south of Sicily and 300 kilometers from North Africa. So before aviation started, Malta was always seen as an important place because we're just right in the middle of the Mediterranean. You know, Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister in the UK, used to refer to Malta as the unsinkable aircraft carrier. Okay, very soon on the left we are going to see the terminal that crosses to Sicily. Okay, there is the terminal where we have a catamaran that operates twice daily. We have an early crossing and a late evening, so sometimes we can even visit Sicily just for the day. Okay, this is the terminal on the left. Every morning today we even get most of our food supplies from Italy, okay, from Sicily. Malta is a small island, meaning that with our population we are not self-sufficient with certain food supplies. Our population is just over 500,000. We're 560,000 people on the island. 33% of us, practically 1/3, are foreigners. Okay, the island has a very good economy, meaning that we have no unemployment on the island. Okay, well, Officially, we have 3% unemployment, okay? But this is practically a group, a cycle of people that will be trying to get some welfare funds, okay? We do have a system in Malta where if you are unemployed, the government will send you job opportunities. If you reject the interview 3 times, then you are out of the welfare system. So this is practically why we have such a low amount of unemployment. Actually, a lot of foreigners come to Malta for work opportunities. Just in 2023, we don't have yet the official figures for 2024, but just talking about 2023, Malta had 42,000 people coming over just for work employment. Different opportunities found on the island, mainly in the tourism sector. One of Malta's main contributors towards our economy is certainly tourism. Malta sees 3.6 million tourists a year, and that is without the cruise ship industry. You know, this morning, we have a small joke between us, the locals, you know, that Malta has 2 official sieges and 1 official. The 2 officials will be the Great Siege of 1565. The second would be Second World War II, and the third is every Wednesday when we get MSC Europa. Okay, 6,600 people on a small island could create some chaos. Okay, as the population is obviously growing, one of the biggest issues we have on the island is that our infrastructure is not adequate. If you look to the right, people are driving to the city, okay, getting to work, and practically most of the time, unfortunately today, we are being blocked in traffic jams, okay? This is the widest junction that we have in Malta. We're passing through Marsa, okay? So the 6th lane just opposite us is no longer sufficient. Obviously, the government is trying to address this, but the population is growing too fast. The government 2 years ago has introduced now that public transport for all residents on the island is free. Okay, so the government is trying as much as possible to incentivize people to use public transport. But if you look to the right, we're practically driving against the traffic this morning. Okay, but you can see just below us, okay, most of the streets are all jam-packed. Okay, people are still not opting to use public transport. Just last week, the government has now announced that if we give up our car license for 5 years, we will be given 25,000 euros. Okay, so a lot of incentives to try and get people to use public transport. Okay, as we drive through on the left, very soon we will see Malta's National Cemetery. Okay, the island has been very conservative. What do I mean by this? Well, the church is part religion, is part of our constitution, okay, and for a very long time had an impact on any decision that the government takes. Meaning that, for example, in Malta, we still do not have cremation. Okay, the bill for cremation has just gone through our parliament, but we still do not have the infrastructure. So if anyone wants to invest on the island, that could be an opportunity at the moment. Okay, I did mention that Malta has a good economy. Well, our economy is not just based on tourism. Okay, Malta has different tax regimes, meaning that in Malta, the company tax rate is 35%, okay? But all international companies are given back 30%. So if you are an international company investing on our island, you would be finally just taxed at 5%. So obviously this creates a lot of incentives for companies to base themselves on the island. Okay, we have companies in the betting industry, gaming industry, we have aviation planes that are actually registered in Malta, maritime boats that are yachts, super yachts registered in Malta, cruise ships like Celebrity, like the Ritz-Carlton are registered in Malta. So a lot of different companies registered internationally on the island that are paying 5% tax. 5% on a small island is quite important for our economy. Well, we are passing through a new junction. Okay, this flyover has just been inaugurated last year. So a lot of infrastructure going all over the island. Okay, Malta has a very, very vast history. We have temples, Neolithic temples that are over 6,000 years. Okay, they predate Stonehenge and the pyramids by over 1,000 years. Okay, and this is when we believe that people were crossing from Sicily to build temples for worship. Following the temples, we are not sure what happened, but it seems that there has been a gap in our history. No people were on the island. One of the biggest problems on the island is that we have no resources. Everything has to be imported in Malta. We're just driving by on the left our international airport. Okay, Malta has one international airport, but we are very well connected. If we just take London, for example, we have 6 daily flights. Okay, that's just to London. We have obviously we're connected to all other main cities and all over Europe. We are also we also get Emirates daily, so we have a daily flight to Dubai. Currently we are driving under our runway. Okay, so we could actually have a plane currently queuing on top of us. Okay, we also have a daily flight to Istanbul. In Malta, the only disadvantage we have, one would say, with air connection is that no wide-bodied planes land in Malta as yet. We are currently discussing a flight to New York, but this hasn't yet materialized. So most of the time, obviously, we need to do a connecting flight. On the left, we are just passing by ST Electronics. This is one of Malta's largest manufacturing companies. Okay, in the 1960s, when Malta got its independence from the British, one of the things that the government was promoting was manufacturing on the island. And this meant that these companies were given a 10-year complete tax haven. Well, manufacturing continued to grow on the island until, one would say, quite recent, where the government is now deviating more our economy on services rather on manufacturing. As mentioned, Malta has no resources, so practically we need to import all the materials. Okay, we need to import the material, produce it, manufacturing it. Salaries are going up. Okay, Malta is a member of the European Union. We joined the EU in 2004, so we are having changes in our, one would say, economy, okay? And certainly manufacturing is reducing a lot. Malta is no more competitive, but the Maltese people mainly are all very well educated, okay? We have a very good education system. Our university is free. Actually, our students are given a stipend. This is not a loan, this is a grant. Are given a grant of around 5,000, 6,000 euros to actually go to university, okay? So it's not just our education that is completely sorted by the government, but even university level. So a lot of Maltese do continue their studies. So the government is today investing more in what we would call servicing companies. And this is why we have this international tax regime that creates a lot of jobs in the finance sector, in the customer service center. Most Maltese people, we speak different languages as other European languages, okay? So Malta is being today derived on this industry. Our population, the government has issued that we can now build the third and fourth floor on our current residences. So a lot of people are doing this. This is obviously generating more accommodation. We need places for all these foreigners that are coming to work on the island. Okay, so this is obviously generating a lot of extra cash for the locals. Our first stop is going to be very soon, okay? We are currently driving on the left by Wheat is Zurich, okay? The town is Zurich. Wheat is Zurich. Wheat in Maltese is valley, okay? This valley was actually formed when Malta was connected to Sicily. Thousands of millions of years ago, before the Ice Age, Malta was actually connected to the mainland of Europe, okay? We were connected to Sicily. In Malta, we have no mountains, so we were not involved in the actual Ice Age, but Malta was getting all the water from the north of Europe coming down. If you look to the left, this is what created these valleys on our island, okay? Water gushing down, coming down to the sea. The sea level disconnected us finally from Sicily, okay? We all know this because we do have a cave in Malta where we have found bones, animal bones of animals that would have never survived on such a small island as Malta. So we have bones that relate to bears, to elephants, hippos, animals that were fleeing from all Europe, coming down for a warmer climate. They were trapped on the island until finally they became extinct. Well, if we look to the left, we can see Valleta, okay? So we are going to have a stop just down here, okay? There is a boat ride that, if you would like, you could opt for. Put the thing around her wrist. Smile.
Hoppa!
Hoppa.
Always around the coast. And now you can see different colors on the left hand side around the edge, from the water line to the bottom, all around. Different colors, different corals, sponges, biodiversity all around. See the forest up to your left, not volcanic, another kind of metamorphosis.
Imagine how old those rocks are. There's like millions of years old. Look at the changing color.
And this is the blue silver cave reflection blue. If one of you swimming here, you see yourself blue. The kind like phosphor. As well, if you put your hands in the water, look at your fingers inside.
Look how blue it is.
Blue.
I know.
Touch your hand in the water.
No, I know. I don't want to.
Look how blue it is.
Yeah, I know. It's too blue.
That's so cool. Lots of birds up there. I can hear them.
That's too. There's no chemicals in this at all. No litter or anything.
Nice window cave on the left, the window.
Oh, look how
Okay.
pretty.
Oh, I've seen these.
And this is the main one, the blue grass, the biggest here. See different sides of stalactites up to your left, hanging down from the ceiling.
Wow.
Stalagmites. It's like gypstone.
Yeah.
Look at the changes of color.
Wow.
Oh, go to this one.
Da-da, 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 da-da. You got food all there.
This cave is under the road. We are about 50 meters under the road now.
Wow.
See the minerals on the rocks coming out from the rocks that make that color. The minerals.
What is it called? Do you know?
Blue grotto.
This
cave.
is the Blue Grotto?
Yeah.
So
The
cool.
blue grotto because it has blue water.
It does. In the camera, you can see it brighter, more blue.
It's also blue.
It is blue, yeah.
They told me water was clear.
And this one is a circle grotto, like a dome of a church.
Whoa.
In the ceiling like a chapel. Natural swimming pool.
How clear the water is. It's so clear. Look at that.
Straight to the road, you can the road.
That one looks like
and
it's just hot fall.
there's the way how we used to get down by foot.
Also subsidizing us when buying an electric vehicle. You know, 10,000 is quite a lot. So our government, one would say, tries to keep everyone happy. Okay, it's a small island. We're just 500,000 practically. Okay, so it's not easy to keep us happy. The fields in Malta are quite small in area. Well, the island is small. Okay, it's quite hilly, so it's actually an area. It's quite small, divided by a number of people from the same family. Well, the technique that we use to divide the fields, these double walls, is called the height tasseir. And this is where we have a number of small stones that are put together. They are not cemented. So when it rains, the water will go from one field to another without flooding the field and without carrying the soil from one field to another. Another way of how we divide our fields is, maybe you've seen as we're driving along, is the cactus, the prickly pear. Okay, well, the prickly pear is normally used as a windbreaker. Okay, Malta is a very windy island, so most of the times you will find it at the perimeter. Okay, if you look to the left, for example, a few here, okay, protecting the field, one from deterrence, okay, from anyone jumping into the field, but also as a windbreaker. Well, from the prickly pear that we can see on the left, we take the fruit in summer, so it's a summer fruit. We also produce a jam from it and also a liqueur. Okay, well, I was joking when we were in Marsaschlock that in Malta probably we are not Muslims for the amount of alcohol that we consume. Okay, we always have an excuse, we always have an occasion to celebrate. Yesterday evening we started what we call the fireworks festival. Okay, so till 11 o'clock the skies were full of fireworks at the Grand Harbour. All the churches over the summer, every church has a patron saint. Okay, so we've been to Marsaschlock. In Marsaschlock, the church there is dedicated to Our Lady of Pompeii. Okay, all through the summer, every village organizes what we call the village feast. Okay, and this is practically 1 week of celebrations. We have celebrations that are done internally inside the church and also external. So external will be the bands, brass bands that play through the streets. All the streets of the town will be heavily decorated, okay, with different banners. We also have the fireworks. So this is a time where the island is in festive season to import a lot of wine bottles, okay? Malta produces around 1.3 million bottles a year, but we practically import up to 8 million bottles.
Look how big this door handle is.
It's like slowly getting louder and louder.
Because we're right at the church.
and it is run on a American syllabus with American professors. A lot of students from the Middle East come for their education over here. So we're currently in Bormla, which is the third city to be built in this area, which closes up the area of the three cities. All these are on the right. Social housing, as mentioned, this area was an area where a lot of workmen that used to work in the docks would locate themselves. Now on the right we will see the last dock, which today is leased to the Italian company Palumbo. Well, Palumbo are ship repairers, okay, it's an Italian registered company. As part of their shareholders, MSC cruise ships have shares in Palumbo, and this is where most of the cruise ships of MSC do their maintenance. When the children are on holiday, during the day, we don't meet any traffic. Very, very different. We get traffic early in the morning when the people are going to work, but during the day, then it's really, really quiet. So we are in Floriana, which is the suburb of the city of Valleta. On the right you will see the War Memorial with the Maltese flag, the War Memorial as a commemorative for World War I and World War II. So if you look to the right, you can see your ship. On the right, the Grand Harbour with your ship, and we're going to drive round the peninsula. On the left, coming up, are the granaries. This is where the Order of St. John used to store their grain to take care of the British Navy. Okay, the Queen resided here. She was then called by her family when she was going to be appointed as a queen, but she always used to refer to Malta as the best times of her life. Okay, I'm not lying. You can watch The Crown, and this is on The Crown on Netflix. Okay, but Queen Elizabeth used to come to the hotel on the right, at the Phoenicia Hotel, for her balls. Okay, they used to organize dances in this hotel. It is one of Malta's top 5-star hotels on the island. As we go round, on the left we will see a number of administration offices. Inside the city is just behind the Phoenicia Hotel. Okay, on our right, most of the buildings of the Order of St. John are today offices of ministers, okay, but their administration team are just outside the office, just outside the city, sorry. So on the left is now at the tip of the peninsula, okay. At the tip on the left, we are just driving by Fort St. Elmo. Fort St. Elmo that was built by the Order of St. John in 1551, the building on the left, which if you had to fly a drone over it, you will see that it is in the shape of a star. Okay, you have 2 points that are protruding on Marsamxett Harbour and 2 points that are protruding on the Grand Harbour. If you look just opposite the Grand Harbour, okay, that is where we have Fort Ricasoli, and that is where the full shooting takes place. So this afternoon, if you get to the upper deck of the ship, you practically can see the Colosseum for the film Gladiator. On the right, we have the Sagra Infermeria. This is the hospital that the Order of St. John had built on the island, on the right. Today, it is our conference center. So if we look to the left, this is where we have the peninsulas coming out to the sea. The first Fort Ricasoli, today used by the Malta Film Commission. The second peninsula is where we have the building with the columns. That is Villa Bighi. Well, Villa Bighi started as an accommodation of an Italian knight. It was initially just the building in the middle. As we pass this area very soon, we will see once again the peninsulas. Well, the building with the columns by the British was extended and turned into a hospital. Malta was not involved, so that's the building on the left, started with just the middle and then extended into a hospital. The second peninsula will then be Angelo, is the residence of the ambassador, of the representative of the order in Malta. Okay, the order today, I would say, is back into its roots, into its hospital years. Most of the work that they are doing at the moment is giving aid, psychological help in Ukraine. In Gaza, they were providing rice. They once a year, every May, they take pilgrims up to Lourdes. Normally these will be sick people. So I would say that they are well back onto their track.